So, we got a report earlier today. Made a video about it over on my channel, as it stands Lakers, and basically, the Lakers are looking at either a Toronto Raptors deal or a Utah Jazz deal. Those are the two deals that make a lot of sense. Per Shams, the Utah deal would be Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, and Mike Conley for Russell Westbrook and one first-round pick. Now, is there seconds involved in that or whatever? Maybe. Not really sure. But it was reported that there would be at least one first involved and that they likely wouldn't have to give up both first. If that's the case, that is an incredible package for what we could get as far as like bang for your buck. And it's about control. You'd have control over those guys for the next several seasons, which is good too. But you'd still have your first, you still have Patrick Beverley, Lonnie Walker. So then you could go get like a Gary Trent, something like that. Otherwise, you could go get the Raptors trade, which would be Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr. Problem is that those two are probably going to take both your firsts. So my thinking is like, if you have these two deals on the table, instead of giving up both firsts for VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr., but you could get all the Utah guys for one first, I would rather go get the Utah guys for one first and get Gary Trent. Even if you can't get Gary Trent, like let's say they're like, look, you have to take VanVleet and Gary Trent both first. It's tough. Like if both deals were the same, like if you had to give up both first for both the Utah deal and the Raptors deal, then I'd probably do the Raptors deal because you get a young Gary Trent, you get Fred VanVleet. VanVleet and Mike Conley are kind of the same type of point guard in many ways. Mike Conley's just the savvy vet, solid defender, better turnover to assist ratio, better overall shooter. But like Fred VanVleet is like, not that far off, right? So I do think they both complement LeBron the same way. But if it's two firsts for Gary Trent and Fred VanVleet or one first for Conley, Beasley, and Vanderbilt, you do the one first for Conley, Beasley, and Vanderbilt, in my opinion. But what are your thoughts, real quick? Which package, which deal would you rather do? Would you like a combination of all three? And how are you structured?
No, I like the Raptors deal. I think it makes a little bit of more sense. I think we get more scoring output in that deal. And I don't know. The Utah deal, I feel like it's kind of like the Hornets deal in so many ways. We get a few good pieces for the next few years. So no, I like the Raptors deal. I think we could go a lot further with Trent and VanVleet. And I think with that too, I think we would be able to kind of spread out the floor more. And we wouldn't have to necessarily worry about the fit of everybody like fitting in. So no, I'm going Toronto. Yeah, I'll go the Raptors deal. I think that's a better fit if we can get that deal done. Yeah, no, I think that would be a far better deal.
Yeah,
especially if we're giving up two first.
Yeah, that to me that's what it boils down to. Is like which of the deals are the cheapest of the two, and which one gets you the most return? In my opinion, like what's the best bang for your buck is kind of my thoughts. I still wouldn't mind the Hornets trade. I really think two things happen. I think either A, it's a simple move where it's just like Gary Trent for Walker, Beverly, and a first.
Yeah.
Something simple like that. Or it's going to be like a huge, like 5 or 6 player return. Whether it's like a 3-team with like the Jazz and the Spurs, or the Jazz and the Hornets, or maybe the Jazz and the Raptors or whatever. I think we're either going to get like almost a roster rehaul or it's going to be a very simple move, like get Gary Trent. He's young enough to be a piece now and the future, and that's it. I kind of think that's what I think. Either the Lakers make several moves to get to get several pieces,
Yeah,
or it's just going to be like a one play. Like I don't think it's going to be, which I wouldn't mind, but I really don't think it's going to be Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent. I think it's either Gary Trent and the Utah deal, or the Utah deal and the Spurs deal, or the Spurs and the Hornets deal, or the Spurs and Gary Trent. Like my guess is that's probably how they go about it. I think because all the reports still say that they want to move off of they still want to move off of Patrick Beverley and Lonnie Walker, and they're willing to find a deal for Russ. And I think at this point you almost have to trade Russell Westbrook. You almost
really.
have to. Yeah, because he's not going to stay. I mean, all you've done this entire time that he's been here is try to trade him, no matter what he's done. Um, and I mean, look, you tried to trade him for Kyrie Irving, but you've also tried to trade him for Miles Turner, Buddy Hield, talking about a Utah deal, talking about this deal, that deal, and the other. And Russ is probably looking at that and going, I'm better than Mike Conley, Beasley, and Vanderbilt. I'm better than Fred VanVleet. I'm better than Kyrie Irving. Whether that's true or not, I guarantee you he believes it. So
I would be a little. I understand business is business, and with the NBA, that's just how the association works. You could be in this team. If you're not a solidified piece, one day you could be on this team, and one day you could be on that team. But if I'm Russ, I would be a little offended just because, like, look, I'm Mr. Triple Double. I know what I bring to this team. Potentially six man of the year. Like, I would be a little appalled at the audacity that they're trying to shit me off all year. I do agree with you. He's gone after the season, but do I want to see
yeah,
this? Do I want to see what do I just at least want to see what kind of run they would have with him into the end of the year? Yeah, but I'm not like, hey, don't trade Russ at any means necessary. I think I still stand. Well, I think we both stand. Don't trade Russ for nothing, like because you're gonna end up regretting it at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But I agree. He's not making it to the next season. He's not staying, and that's by his decision. There's no way he's gonna stay.
I don't think so. So I mean, if that's not going to happen, I think you got to trade him. But um, I want to hear from Jake and Tyler. So the question is, say we miss the play-in tournament and the playoffs, what do AD and LeBron do next summer? What do you think? What do you think they do?
I think they do exactly. I think they both say like LeBron's not going to announce retirement, and he's not going to go anywhere else. I don't think he's going to request for a trade. He's going crazy like that. AD is going to stick around. I think LeBron and AD are going to are going to be on the Lakers, for the next 2-3 years, depending on what they do with AD. But we're not going to see move from them, like as far as like switching teams or anything like that. I think now I will say this though. LeBron is ending the near end of his career, so I would say he's gonna put more pressure on the front office to say, hey, we need to make a deal. You got maybe
So we got a report earlier today. Made a video about it over on my channel as it stands Lakers, and basically the Lakers are looking at either a Toronto Raptors deal or a Utah Jazz deal. Those are the two deals that make a lot of sense. Per Shams, the Utah deal would be Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, and Mike Conley for Russell Westbrook and one first round pick. Now, is there seconds? Sorry, is there seconds involved in that or whatever? Maybe,
yeah.
not really sure. But it was reported that there would be at least one first involved and that they likely wouldn't have to give up both first. If that's the case, that is an incredible package for what we could get as far as like bang for your buck. And it's about control. You'd have control over those guys for the next several seasons, which is good
Yeah.
too. But you'd still have your first, you still have Patrick Beverley, Lonnie Walker. So then you could go get like a Gary Trent, something like that. Otherwise, you could go get the Raptors trade, which would be Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr. Problem is that those two are probably going to take both your firsts. So my thinking is like, if you have these two deals on the table,
Yeah.
instead of giving up both firsts for VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr., but you could get all the Utah guys for one first, I would rather go get the Utah guys for 1 first and get Gary Trent. Even if you can't get Gary Trent, like let's say they're like, look, you have to take Van Vliet and Gary Trent in both first. It's tough. Like if both deals were the same, like if you had to give up both first for both.